Hello and welcome to another it's a Masters recap for Patrons Golf. We've got I'm joined by Alex Lobianco again, very popular amongst the viewers of the first episode. Some some complimentary messages about your performance, some not so complimentary, but look, it's great to have you back on. I've we were texting probably more over the last week than I spoke to my wife this year, so she thinks something's going on. But
She's right. Yeah, she's right. She should be worried.
she should be worried because yeah,
Yeah.
there's golf every week for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Nice to be on
Yeah.
again. No, I definitely take on all feedback, so positive, negative is welcome. Um, it was
What
an
do we
exciting
think?
kind of event, but like, yeah, a little flat with results. Like to get two T11s and a T12 for
Mm,
people that know golf betting, that's pretty jarring. Like
yeah.
you're thereabouts, but you're not getting anything to show for it. But no, I enjoyed it, man. It was a good week.
Yeah, I guess the if we want to dive into quickly, I guess our performance or results, I think yeah, a couple of my key guys kind of fell fairly flat, and there was a few guys who were kind of knocking around. Patrick Reed obviously got was in contention, I guess you could say, for probably two and a
First two
half.
days. Yeah.
First, yeah, maybe two and a half, and then kind of fell flat. Tyrrell Hatton just kind of came from the moon late on Sunday, and I was left me scrambling in the rummaging through the bin to find that ticket. But yeah, like you, I had some probably my fair share of unlucky results. In the three balls, I lost. I led on the 18th hole, I think, in like six, and I either lost or had a push on those.
Wow.
So look, when it got to the 18th tee, I was just turning the broadcast off. I had had enough of the 18th tee at that point. But but
Sounds
yeah,
pretty
look,
rough. But like in
yeah,
review, man, like I kind of look at it and if the two favorites run one,
one
two,
and two,
like
yeah.
I'm
What are you
I'm
gonna
kind
do?
of I'm kind of happy to cop that. Like unless I'm putting all my eggs in the McIlroy or Scheffler basket for the week, then
Mm,
I'm pretty content with how I played it. Like I think that's a lot of, obviously we go into reviews and recaps and you look at how you've played your hand and I'm pretty comfortable with it. Like unless I was really keen on one of those top two guys, I wouldn't
mm.
have played it any different.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think that's one of the things that probably, I guess, your casual, your casual recreational golf punters probably don't understand is like you're gonna have a lot of really good bets and you're gonna be right and you're gonna walk away with 0 cents. And like I I look at two of my, like my absolute bomb bets, right? Which was Sam Stevens and Matt McCarty,
Hmm.
right? Both finished in the top 30. Um, look, they didn't cash top 20s for me, which obviously hurts, but I think they finished 24th each. Right.
Mm.
Like I look back at that and go, like, I look back at the process and what kind of stuck out to them at those prizes. That kind of gives me a little bit of confidence going in next year, trying to find those kind of guys. So like I walk away with, eating ramen noodles for the week, but I look at it and go, yeah, look, the process was right. And look,
Yeah,
you go into every tournament, every week where you accept the possibility that I could be Rory'd or I could be Scotty'd. Like it's just gonna happen.
definitely.
Um, but
Yeah, the good point you made there was like we talked about recipe before the tournament and like how you were gonna, you know, weight certain players and certain skills and stuff. Like I look at the end result and like I really put an emphasis on around the green play and
mm,
putting, and like the end margin was a stroke, right? Like Rory won by
yep,
one, and I think it was only him and Cantlay that had one plus strokes gained around the green. So that's the
mm,
margin of victory. So you
yeah,
find Rory or Cantlay, and you're pretty close to the winner. So
yeah,
yeah, it is nice. You kind of get franked, and you get a bit more confidence. And obviously, the Masters is a lifetime journey for blokes like you and me. Like you learn a little thing along the way, and you
mm,
confirm a lot of the things you already know as well. So no, pretty
yeah,
confident. Like pretty good watch. The final day itself was not massive drama, but to have so many lead changes kept it kind of interesting and kind of gripping. Like
Yeah.
I think the Young story and the Rose story were just really good,
Mm.
news lines to come through it if it were to happen. Obviously, the Rory one's a massive one, like back to back, and kind of solidifying his Masters champion status from last year. Like that's a big one as well. But yeah, the other two were in play for a while.
Yeah, it's funny because we had like a on paper, and we kind of had this last year with the Masters too, and it kind of fell a little bit. Last year we had like, Bryson makes this huge putt on 18, and then all of a sudden we've got like, probably the two biggest golfers in the world going head to head tomorrow, like in the final pairing. How good is this? And then this year we kind of had like six guys kind of essentially in the mix. And, Burns, birdies early and then hits his tee shot to, the Harbour Town essentially, and he's out of it. Shane Lowry, like, my God.
He must have celebrated the hole in one. That's all I can kind of
Yeah,
whittle it down to, right? Like
yeah,
he
like
mustn't have prepped that well.
that. Look, it's a problem. It's a tough one for me because I really wanted to see him. I really wanted to see him win this.
Mm.
I thought this was kind of the right recipe for him, not having the lead, being in that chasing pack, and being close enough.
Bit of
Uh,
momentum, sort of
Bit
thing.
of
Yeah.
momentum, shot eight over. I wonder how many more chances like this he's going to get.
Yeah.
And I think that's a potential watch this year. He's already had the horrific loss, and then this seeing like one of your best friends win two Masters in a row. Like you're not human if you don't say like that some aspect of it hurts you. So that was a pretty tough watch, but
Yeah, I feel like the first one he was like genuinely excited for Rory and was like
mm,
emotionally happy. And then the second one you could see he was like pretty upset at himself,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
definitely warranted. Like I would imagine I'd feel the same. You'd be stoked for your mate in both instances, but when you put yourself in such a great spot and are playing well and throw it away, like yeah, that'd burn for a little while.
It's a weird dynamic, right? Having like one of your best friends also as a professional golfer and like the best in the world, where you're like, I love to see the success for him, but his success means I've failed. Um,
I saw
which is
the shake and bake memes. That's exactly that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a tough one. Yeah, you hurt for Justin Rose, like pretty big time. Like I think at some point I got the phone out ready to live bet. But yeah, um, I think Cam Young. I don't know what to make of his final round. I think Cam Young's it's because it gives you no emotion, right? Like
Mm.
you never know how he's like truly feeling. Like we saw in 18 when Rory hit his drive into the woods, you could visibly see on his face he was like, "Oh boy."
Mm.
You see it with Rose as well. Like they're both like they're not super animated, but like they do reveal a lot more than Cam Young is, and like
Yeah, agree with that.
I don't know how little or how much Cam Young probably felt in control of his own game yesterday, and like ultimately
Yeah.
that's probably makes it a little bit hard for us, going into
He's
the
still played
Masters next year.
unbelievably well. Like
100%,
to
yeah,
par out the back nine, like is pretty solid. Like, yeah, he didn't
yeah,
score to get himself right at the top, but he's still had a really good result. Like
mm.
I don't lose any admiration for him. Like I
No,
will
100%,
probably he'll probably be one of the top couple I look at the PGA Championship. Like
yep.
that's another course that's going to suit him, and his form's just so good. Like he puts himself in that conversation. So yeah, nothing lost there for me.
Mm.
Um,
Trevor Immelman did a tweet in the morning. I think he said something like, he's like, my God, like the pins are so accessible today. And I saw that tweet, and then I was like watching the broadcast going like, are they? Like some of the holes, even like someone like Scotty was like, he got to like 30 feet. I can't remember what number it was, but he was like 30 feet like from the middle of the fairway, and I'm like, that's a good shot. Like that's a really good shot. And it's like I don't know actually how accessible it probably was, but um, yeah, yeah, it was tough. It's tough. It was really tough watching. Well, not tough watching, but it was like
Yeah, I get what you mean.
it was yeah, it looked like a real grind, and
Yeah,
kind of makes you appreciate Morikawa
very
and
much.
Hatton's round, like
Yeah.
how
Yeah, I
those
think
guys were just able to.
like I mentioned to you, like I think it's a real turning point. Like you put your game under so much scrutiny and stress like these guys are doing, and like they're really trying to get everything out of themselves and they're assessing and they're, making little changes here and there. Like it can really have a big spike upwards in a
Mm,
lot of these guys' performance. Like I think, yeah, you mentioned kind of Kepka um and Tyrrell and a few of those guys, like Max Homer. Like this could be a really like significant point in time for them to be like,
mm,
hey, I was really struggling in 26 and then had a really good Masters and then the back of my year just really benefited from it. So yeah, big watches for me over the next probably few events are Max and Brooks. Like I feel like they've got one really soon.
mm.
And then yeah, Tyrrell's always a good one to look in majors. Like he just always seems to perform under pressure and is opposite how he is to Cameron Young. Like
He's the polar
he still
opposite.
gets it done though, right? Like he could have melted like Sergio, but he channels it in the right way, I think.
I think that's because it's who he is, right? Like he could be playing at Augusta, or he could be playing at like Royal Bandura, which is a goat track near my house. Like, and I feel like he would be the same way. And it's also like it's so self-deprecating, which like is kind of why people love him, right? Like he'll hit a shot and he'll be like that's the best golf shot you ever seen, right? And he's just completely taking the piss out of himself.
Mm.
It's hard not to love him. You
Yeah.
talk about there was one player I do want to just kind of mention, because I did mention him in our preview not to bet. I just kind of pointed out a fact that Brian Campbell finished T24 this week,
Mm.
which he's missed 10 of the last 16 cuts since he won the John Deere, which is insane, an
Mm.
insane run to go on after you've won your second tournament of the year.
Yeah.
Um, Look, yeah, I think I was super happy for him. Not from any betting angle, like you could not, I could use your money and I probably still wouldn't bet him. But um, yeah, look, it's hard to not feel, I guess, a little bit sorry for a guy like that, who's clearly completely lost his game, and you know he gets to go to the Masters because he's obviously won the tournaments. And like, God, if you're in all sorts, heading to Augusta, like that could just be. Like Davis Riley, we saw that was like a plus 20, I think.
Mm.
Um, but like, yeah, like he finishes two under. He gets like a lot of props from me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do kind of hope he can kind of, turn it around and make a few more cuts towards the back end of the year because yeah,
Yeah.
God knows what he's probably been going through mentally with the
He's
game
one of
where it
those
was at.
guys, like I think you pointed it out. Like he's one of those guys to put an asterisk next to every year in the Masters. Like
Mm,
if his game is in a better spot in totality next year, like he putted really well. And like we said earlier, like
yeah.
big big weighting on putting, big weighting around the greens. Like
Mm,
between him and Colin, the two best putters of the week.
yeah.
So like, yeah, that's one that's going to come back next year when I look at this and I'll be like, well, he wasn't playing around the approach play and off the tee like as well
Mm,
as he can. Like that part of his game was still giving away shots, but the main parts are going
mm,
really well. So if he gets those other bits just up to parity, he'll
yeah.
be pretty much in contention a lot of the time
100,
at Masters,
100,
which is cool. You got to find those
mm,
diamonds in the rough or those sort of gems. Like he might not even qualify, to be honest. Like he's still got to qualify
pro-
each year, but when he gets in there, you
probably
just
not.
look for those guys. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good segue. It's how do you bet someone for the Masters next year, a year away? But I think like a really important like thing to do is to kind of profile a couple of guys based on their performance. Are there any guys that you've looked at? Like I got two guys. We kind of spoke about one privately
yeah.
already.
No, not really, to be honest. Like I don't know. I'm a little bit risk averse in that sense.
Mhm,
Um, Tiger Woods is a pretty fresh example. Like anything
mhm.
can happen in 12 months. Like
Yeah.
in life, in golf, in sport, whatever. Like so, I don't like taking that uncertainty in a bet or in a price.
Mm.
So look, I probably won't bet it.
Yeah.
And where I'm looking is where the prices aren't going to change. Like the market's up already. It's
Mm.
identical to what it was last week. Like there's not many
Yeah.
guys that have been sliced in. The
Mm.
top five in the market still hold the top five of the percentage. So
I'd have
um,
I'd have loved for a 50-1 on Morikawa when they put it back up, but
yeah, someone did the
alas,
adjustments.
yeah,
They made sure they did that.
yeah.
But yeah, the rest of the stuff was pretty similar. Like yeah,
Mm.
Ludwig, I said went on the record last week and said you won't get as good a price as this. He's around the same price, and look, I'd happily take that closer to the
Mm.
event. I think he'll go off next year a lot shorter. Like I'm
Mm.
pretty confident in his career trajectory that he's on the right track. And yeah, if he comes out and wins an Open or something this year, then that'll
Mm.
shorten obviously. And I'm pretty happy to kind of check his
Mm.
price and monitor it during the year. And then yeah,
Yeah.
when the time comes to it, when I've got enough confidence, I'll reinvest probably every year he's in the Masters.
Yeah, and that's fair. Uh, I haven't bet either of these guys yet, but um, two guys that I kind of left this week really kind of like putting a big circle around big asterisks is Jake Knapp and Maverick McNeely. I think like obviously the typical recipe for master success is obviously experience, it's contend, and then it's success. And I think I wouldn't call what McNeely had as contending, but two master starts, T32 first year, T18 this time. I think the thing that really stuck out with him is, and you spoke about around the green play, he gained 3 strokes, uh, last Masters around the green and did the exact same thing this year. And I look at kind of like the upside, and his approach numbers were kind of a little bit low, especially for what you would kind of consider him. I guess if you want to look at him in terms of like his spike rounds, like uh, he's a gamer, and I think like he's kind of got that around the green stuff. Obviously anything can happen any year, but we know the approach numbers have room to grow, and that to me is like probably the most like is the most like telling thing is that he's kind of figured out a way to work it around the greens and on the green. Uh, if he gets his approach numbers dialed in, like he's 90-1 at the moment, which like I'm not betting it, but uh, in my opinion, anyone who's gained those numbers around the green when we know how much that factors into the success is probably not going off that price. Like, if you just were to give someone the pure numbers and be like, hey, here are the numbers for this guy, what price do you think you are? No one's saying 90-1. So
Mm.
he's going to be a big watch for me. And look, Jake Knapp, like you were kind of big on him. Um, Pure ball striker. I think he's like off the tee numbers, tee to green numbers were
Huge.
massive. His putting numbers were massive as well. Yeah, and he goes from I think T55 the last time he played, which was 2024, and ends up probably not contending on Sunday, but in the thick of it, which I think is super
Mm.
important. He's playing in kind of those last groupings, and so he gets to see the crowds at their biggest. Everything that goes into that, like that's just going to benefit him so much, and so like that's I can already like I'm betting that next year. Like
Yeah,
I just know I'm betting him next year.
yeah.
So yeah.
He just gets a 2026 win on the board. Like
Mm.
just has to win an
Yep.
event from here to the end of the year. Like I would be
And
shocked if that doesn't happen.
I think he will as well, right? Like he's had some really good rounds at really tough tracks. And I just think that whatever you have to say about his like, his tempo and his swing, he's just like he does look fairly in control. I think there's obviously some aspects of his game that he probably just does need to clean up a bit, but he's so good off the tee, so accurate at like a win's going to come.
Mm.
If Brian Gamble can win twice in a year, Jake Knapp can win once. So yeah, those are two guys massively I'll be watching for next year. Colin Morikawa, that is like if we we kind of didn't really see him on the broadcast until Sunday when he was kind of going on like a tiny run, but like
Mm.
you could visibly see like unless he's putting it on for the cameras, like he that is like one of the best Masters performances for a guy who almost looked like he needed like
Walking frame.
a walking frame.
Yeah, he was struggling. It's a few ways to unpack this, right? And like a lot of my kind of mates and people I talk golf to have different views on Colin. Like he can be so frustrating because
Mm.
his ceiling is just like really impressive. He's a really good player when he's at his best, and he's just frustrating for people that want to see that best out of him, or yeah, punt him obviously. Um, but yeah, a few ways to interpret this. Like the way that I have kind of came back to in my head is that he literally was forced just to quiet everything else that was going on. Like I think he's
Mm.
a player that plays with a bit of doubt and can get in his head and start, second guessing what he's doing and how he's playing. But he just had that pure sole focus that I need to just get around the course and not get medicarted off.
Yeah.
Which helped him. Like it just really, I don't know. I'm assuming here it could be totally different. And like I haven't heard much of the press from him. I don't think he's talked that much. I'd be shocked if he tees it up this week.
Yeah, I
But
think he's in the field, which
he's in the field still. Yeah,
I was very confused about that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll get into Harbour Town and that sort of thing,
Mm.
but yeah, he seemed to. It was a shock, mate, to me. Like his result, I couldn't have told you. Even without his back injury, I wouldn't have been so confident of him finishing seventh. Like if he was
Mm.
fully fit, I couldn't say, yeah, I'm putting my stocks in here to get a top 10. But really impressive. Like
Mm.
you just have to give credit where it's due and like to grind it out and be able to get through that. Like, yeah, big respect for him.
Yeah, no, massive respect. But yeah, I'm not typically a Morikawa cheerleader, but yeah, no, look, I kind of said beforehand, like his outright price, you had to kind of make a decision. You're like, it was big enough where you're like, yeah, I don't believe the injury is, that bad, or you're just taking him on in like three
Mm.
balls and stuff. And look, if you did one of those two things, you lost. So hopefully you didn't do that. Thankfully I didn't. But
No, I stayed
uh,
out. Any kind of injury concern is more a flashing light of warning than a welcome with open arms. Give you give you your money. So stayed out of him personally.
hmm. Yeah, look, I guess we'll wrap it up here. Give me one thing that you kind of took away from the Masters this week, heading into next week, like the biggest thing for you
Into next week's event or into next Masters?
into the next Masters.
Yeah, the big one was the Friday kind of swing in results. Like
Mm,
it is a bit of sour grapes for me. Obviously, been in Ludwig and hearing Scotty talk about his his round one, round two wave just really got shafted. Like
yeah.
the fact how they changed the course so much from Thursday, and then yeah, that was disappointing. But again, like I'll take that out into consideration. And to be honest, like Scotty overcame it. Like he almost won the thing. But yeah, in AM PM waves round one, round two, that's always something to be aware of, which I wasn't
Mm,
probably aware of coming in. That it can change like so dramatically, just from being rock hard, a
mm.
little bit windy, then juicing it overnight, and then going out and scoring on the Friday afternoon like crazy.
Yeah, I even on the Friday morning, like I watched the first pairing go out because I had bets on both of them as the sicko I am. And I was like, I saw Sam Stevens' first putt and I was like, oh my God. Like, like what the, and I think maybe Jason Day was like, yeah, the their practice green, the practice putting greens were nothing like what was out there. And
Mm.
you saw so many guys come up so short, and you're just like they're looking at the greens like as if like what is
Mm.
this? Yeah, it's a bit
So
disappointing.
that was where the experience and the recency kind of came through. And I know it's like one of the bigger storylines out of the week that Rory was flying back and forth there and just playing every day leading into it, and had a really good recent prep. That experience allows you to adapt really quickly. And the guys like Ludwig, like that have only had a few events there and were coming in from the previous event on the Monday or Tuesday, just didn't have the time on course in
Mm.
preparation, so couldn't adapt that quickly. That was biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, my one uh is around the preparation, and this is kind of like a kind of ties into what you said about the Houston was we saw you see a million trends, but one of the trends was like no winner in the last X years or whatever has not played in the last like two tournaments or 3 weeks or whatever. And we actually saw so many players just go completely like their own way, right?
Mm.
'Cause you look at um and look, I'm cherry picking the stats here. But if we want to look at the two guys who contended at Houston, or three guys if you want to include Spawn, that contended on the Sunday, had to play 1.5 rounds of highly mentally challenging golf in tough conditions too, like windy, wet, just miserable.
Mm.
It's Ludwig, it's Bobby Mack, and it's Spawn, right?
Bitsy as well. You can throw in there, kind of.
Yeah, right. And none of them played well, right?
Mm.
Ludwig had a really good start and then kind of just fell away. Bobby Mack had like huge Sergio sort of meltdowns.
Just the name. All you need to see is the name. That sums his week up.
Then 100%, yeah, like refused to do media, and that was messy.
Mm.
Spawn was kind of nowhere all week. You didn't really hear anything about him. But if you want to look on the flip side, right? So people were up in arms about Rory talking about his preparation, where he'd drop his daughter off at school and jump on a PJ and fly up to Augusta and play 9 holes, and then jump back on a plane and pick her up. I'm okay with that. You're a Masters champion.
If anyone can, they would. This is where you can't
100%.
pot shot. You can't
No,
criticize personally.
no, no. This is like you when you win the green jacket, you get trimmings. All right, and this is like this is a part of that. Um, Scotty Scheffler obviously didn't play. I think that was kid related, which is completely
Yeah.
fine. Um, Justin Rose, I don't know if you saw the video, but Justin Rose did a video where he basically did the same thing Rory did. Like he was in a car and he was like, oh, he's like, yeah, I came up to Augusta, a couple of times the last few weeks with my short game coach.
Mm.
And we just kind of walked around and we kind of like he hasn't won at Masters. Like
Mm.
I'm pretty confident that most of these guys get kind of the ability to play Augusta leading up. Probably not as much as say someone who's won,
If
but
you're purposeful with it, you can, right? Yeah. And that was my concern
yeah,
around Rose going in.
mm,
It was that his short game around Augusta Greens wouldn't hold up, and it did.
mm,
Not
yeah,
maybe only because he had that prep work in the short term, but yeah, he's clearly put a high emphasis on it. And I think like guys that are purposeful with planning their schedule and their calendar and
yep,
are like, this is the tournament I'm targeting, this is the work I want to do in the lead up, as opposed to guys who are just going to play every event and grind.
yeah,
Like that's the difference you're seeing.
yeah. And look, some guys have to do that. Like I fully respect
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
But Cam Young's a perfect example, right? Like he wins the Players, comes third, seventh, the two tournaments beforehand. Why do you need to play?
Mm.
Like the only thing he can actually probably do is actually probably hurt himself by going into another tournament because you kind of talk about, right? There's the Masters has such is a difference in terms of like how you're actually going to play the golf course. And so you're use those 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, and just you know, get really thoughtful in terms of how you plan and how you prepare for it. So that was massive for me. It's just like monitoring guys who actually have been like kind of like you say, like really purposeful about their preparation, picking and choosing and planning. And it might even be something that I kind of look at from the players in terms of like shot selection and stuff like that, trying to look at guys maybe not necessarily who perform super well, but you can kind of see that they look like they've
Planning
got
towards it. Yeah,
they
that was
they
my angle with
yeah.
Nikolai. Unfortunately,
Mm.
he didn't come to the party with that, or it didn't hold up. Either or, but at least he's trying.
At least he's trying. That is the motto for most bets I have each week.
True.
Uh, let's move to Harbour Town. Yeah, RBC Heritage signature event right after the Masters, which is an interesting one to me.
Agreed.
Um, yeah, it's a Pete Dye course, super challenging. I guess like the main characteristics of the course are it's not I don't think you have to be super good off the tee, but it's a pretty challenging course. You need to be really, really locked in around the greens, very small greens, kind of smaller approach shots. Um,
Yeah, it's a funny one. Like on paper, the game profile and the stat profile you look at is pretty similar to Augusta. Like you need to
mm,
be really, really solid approach, really, really solid scrambling around the greens, and then your putting has obviously got to hold up on these greens, but completely different when you flick it on the television and watch. It
uh,
looks so different from last week for anyone that's like, oh, it must just
yeah,
be like this every week. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
There's a
that'll be
lighthouse.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. There's some blind tee shots, there's some blind approach shots where like you'd literally just be staring at trees.
Mm,
So yeah, it'll be interesting this week. Like I said, on paper, the game profile stacks up pretty similar. Like that's why it's a nice little lead in. From last week, you can pick some guys that played well, and they'll probably play well this week as well, in my opinion.
yeah. Have you had any bets on this yet, or the guys you've kind of targeted?
Look, I'm I'm midway through the weekly
Mm,
self debate with myself. How short is Scotty not to bet him? And I'm more on the leaning bet Scotty than the not bet Scotty this week. So,
mhm.
um, like yesterday, if you asked me, I said no one's beaten Scotty. Like he is unbelievable. He will just go and dominate this field and make a statement. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of sense checking myself before I fully hinge my wagon to him, but I probably will just do that play this week and maybe play some periphery stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's definitely guys that are in the market as well that will contend, like Henley and Siwoo are probably the two big ones that stand out for me. Like Henley obviously played really well in that last round. He just didn't really putt all that well, but um, his games at a place that'll go really well around here, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've kind of taken I've kind of taken the approach of I'm going to take Scotty on, but I'm not taking him on aggressively,
Okay.
because I do think that this is probably a I'm going to get Scottied. Uh, I bet two
Yeah, yeah, either
guys.
with or against though, right? Like
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
tricky one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm always going to take some shots. Yeah, in this situation, but I'm just kind of looking for guys. I think probably at I guess a little bit bigger price. And like one guy, first guy is Daniel Berger, super good approach numbers, has some really good finishes here, a couple of T5s, and I do think that like his form over the last 2 years, I do think a win's coming. I
Yeah, he
think
had an injury, right? He had an injury that
he had a
wiped
back
him for
injury
a good
for
a good
for, for a
season and a
long
half, I'll
time.
call it. Like just wasn't himself, but really seems to be looking like getting back to his best.
Yeah, I think the fact that this is not like you don't need to be amazing off the tee, and we've got a lot of kind of these kind of 100 to 125 approach shots. I think the numbers around him look really good. So yeah, like I got him at a pretty nice number. Like if you like playing the each way three places at 365 to get kind of the booster price is like 126. So I'm happy to take a shot at that.
Yeah.
And the other one is Maverick Neely. This is pretty much like an around the greens play. The numbers from Augusta are really good, and this is it's going to be a large element of this week. And 60, he's 60 in that three-way each market. So they're two bets I've had so far. Look, I haven't
Nice.
haven't
Third,
really.
third here last year for Maverick.
Mm, yeah.
Always pleasing.
There's yeah, 100%. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how big I'll go outside of this in the first round. I love playing the first round leader. It's my kryptonite is playing that, but I haven't really taken a look too deeply at the weather or anything like that. Probably dive into that today. But
Yeah.
yeah, look, I think those are two guys that you could yeah, you can really make a case for.
Yeah, interesting.
Um
Yeah, nice play. I don't mind the burger angle. Like I do see the merit in it. That guy for me is probably one out of the left field, but Rio Satsune. Um,
oh
he really like
yeah.
again this year's form has been really nice. Like his current going to 2026 is in a good spot. He's
Mm,
only had one start here, but I think has a really nice game to get around.
yeah,
So
100%. Yeah.
it, even if I do or don't bet Scotty, like he'll be a ticket I have. He's around 50 to 1, 60 to 1. So
Mm.
yeah, solid enough value for me.
I think the ceiling with him every round is so much higher than probably most people realize.
This
Like
is
you,
this is a byproduct of us in Australia now getting the world feed on Fox Sports. Like
yes,
we are
yes.
seeing guys that no one else is watching in the States.
No, no,
As
100%.
frustrating as it is, like I don't love it, and we'll probably write Fox Sports an email today. But you are seeing a lot of around the world players. Like we're getting to see a lot of non-US players play shots. Like, and I am seeing the value in that, and kind of appreciating that. As frustrating as the other stuff is, like, but yeah, I am really bullish about him. Like he's young and he's just bouncy early, like really early. So yeah,
Mm.
nice to watch, nice to cheer on. To be honest, like he seems like a really good personality and character for the game. So yeah, I'll be cheering this week, Rio.
Yeah, I think the one thing I like about him, it's just going to sound really weird, but is um, you can see he's super routine based, right? Because
Mm.
they kind of notice everything with the water bottle and the fact that he's always dreaming. They're like, "What's in that?" I think he shot like something like 7 or 8 under, and they're like, "What's in that water bottle?" And he's like, "Oh, it's sake." Um, but like I do love players because he kind of spoke about it a little bit, and he goes, "Yeah, it just kind of helps me kind of reset almost." He's like, I play a really good approach shot. I go and look at the putt, and it's only natural where you're like, "Oh, hello," and he's like, I kind of need like this little bit of a routine to kind of like, reset and whatever. And like, I guess most players at this level do have, I guess, that routine element, but it's almost like an additional one, right? Like it's outside of his setup. And I love players who are kind of like, I guess, dialed into that. That's like an extra level kind of a thing for me. So yeah,
Yeah,
look, you wouldn't have to twist my arm to bet him. There was a couple of things I found interesting when kind of looking over like the past results here is that like um yeah, guys who performed around the greens like really well, like kind of like the top 10 guys, they all had the really high finishes. They all had like top 20 finishes last year. Um and like, that's not gonna be like a completely groundbreaking, but I guess it does kind of show that like with the super small greens, like if your wedges are like
you're
yeah,
gonna miss them, right? You're gonna miss
yeah,
them, and you've got to be
every
prepared to
every
keep
play's gonna
yourself in
miss them.
play. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The previous winners, I've got it on hand here too, so to kind of ram
Mm,
your point home. Like JT was even surprising at the Masters, to be honest. Eighth in scrambling when he won.
mm,
Scotty when he won first. Fitzy when
yeah.
he won fourth, and Spieth when he won sixth. They're all their
Mm,
scrambling finishing numbers. Like you've got to be really
yeah.
good, a really
Mm.
good scrambler amongst the field this week. So
So
definitely rounds that out for me.
Aldrich Potgieter's probably not.
I haven't
Actually, I
got
don't
how
know.
I can go back after that. After
Oh
that
God.
vision, if you haven't seen the vision of hole one, round one,
Oh my God.
I said that a lot of
Oh
players will scull it over the green.
yeah.
First one, straight onto Instagram. I think they took it down actually because
Yeah,
someone kicked it.
Paul.
Someone kicked it back a good 10 yards for him just because they felt sorry for him. So
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the shots from the Masters no one will ever see again.
No, no,
Wiped, wiped
no.
from the historical media.
When you watch him hit, like he does something with his knee that's kind of like every local every local casual golfer has done that with their knee when they are trying to chip, and it looks like they've taken a 3 wood to it. So yeah, felt bad for him in that moment, but thankfully had some patrons to protect his ball.
I'm pleased that
Uh,
came up and we got to talk through that.
mm,
We, we found a little
yeah,
window and we got that in there. So yeah, that
yeah.
was interesting. He's going to be interesting. Like obviously he's long and powerful off the tee and whatever else,
The
but
short game is like he's just gonna be a play on those like
bomb and gouge.
Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
like those Mickey Mouse Mexican
Mm.
coastal courses that are like they're kind of like live tournament like live courses if we're being honest, like where it doesn't really matter. Any course that's going to challenge him kind of around the greens, like he's not gonna he's just gonna get himself like super unstuck.
You reckon the Southern
Um,
Guards are sending him some merch? Dean Burmester's in his ear. You reckon get him over?
I love my Southern Guards. I don't even know who they'd take. I'm a big Burmeister guy. And
Yeah.
Brendan Grace is obviously starting to play well
Mm.
again. Maybe Charles. Charles might be the
Oof.
one out. That's a tough one.
I
Yeah.
think you're right. Yeah.
Louis is the captain, so Louis can't cut himself. I don't know how
Mate,
many captains you see.
I
There
love
is a
watching Bowen.
there is actually there's a live event this week in Mexico City, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't think I've done absolutely zero investigation into this. I don't know if you have,
Yeah.
but no, look, I'll probably watch some of it at some point. But look,
Usually I look at, it's the same approach with how I look at a PGA or a major. Like I look at some course form, obviously, or some, region form and what's going to help me find the historic kind of, strengths. Um, Live players didn't put himself up in lights at the Masters, I don't think. Like a lot
no,
of guys kind of fell away. My man Carlos Ortiz did not go well for him.
no,
Um,
that was tough. I
yeah,
think.
so we'll be
Mm,
interesting to see how it shakes out this week. Like even Rahm, the way Rahm responds is going to be good to watch. Like, we keep coming back to people who aren't, you know, solid golfers as we are, or watch every event or every, day or every round. This live event for anyone who wants to dip their toe into the live pool, like it's going to be interesting.
mhm.
You're going to see some really, really good responses, I think, from players in the Masters and really
Yeah,
fresh appearances from guys who weren't because they're just ready to go.
yeah, no, 100%. I think like one of the things, if we want to look at, I guess, kind of betting advice for the casual kind of guys who get into
Mhm.
live. You're not kind of afforded the same benefits that you are with Harbour Town, right? Where you're like, I got 10 years of data to look through where I can analyze all this stuff and see which players perform well and what aspects of their game was on. Like a lot of these courses are we've had one or two events, and so it's really hard. There are comp courses out there for every course in the world. And so like that's one of the things that I kind of looked at last week in the Masters for the debutantes, is right. It's like, yep, you're not going to be able to replicate Augusta form, but what are the courses that play typically similar to this course? And so like I don't know what the comp courses are for the live event this week, but like I guarantee you there is that information out there. It's one of the things I always look at is just trying to find something so you can see if there's, you can connect the dots somehow. It's like that. It's always sunny in Philadelphia meme, like with the numbers on the thing and the lines connecting everywhere. But
There's a method. There's a method there.
there's a method in the madness. But
Yeah, definitely.
look, Alex, thank you as well again for coming on. You're going to be a regular at this point. You're 2 for 2, so we'll
Hey,
see.
I'm happy to be. It
We'll,
gets me talking about stuff that I really enjoy and really love.
that's
With
what.
someone I do also really enjoy and really love spending time with. So
Oh, you're one of the
there we
greatest
go.
humans. You're one of the
Just
greatest
sweet
humans the
talking to
game
get
ever
myself back in.
got.
I know the
uh,
negative feedback would have been stronger than the positive, so I've got to sell my case a little bit at the end here. But
Uh,
yeah, Rio Hisatsune. If anyone was cracking it about last week's tip,
there you go.
have something there, and then
Enjoy
send
the
any
sake
negative
after.
feedback to Bowen.
Okay, mate. Thank you very much for the chat. We'll speak over the weekend and give my wife some more suspicions.
Thanks again. Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Chat
mate.
soon.